In the previous video, we started to explore the draft workbench in FREECAD, and we explored some of the tools that are available. And we made some examples on how starting from 2D, then we get into 3D modeling. So this is why it's really important to understand the variety of tools that you have at your disposal in FREECAD. So we're gonna see some of the other tools that we didn't see yet before. So I'm gonna start by going in the menus because every time you choose a workbench, also the menus up here, they change. We talk about the toolbars there. These are really important, so make sure they are all expanded, especially the snaps, the drawings, annotation, and also modification right here. But you can access them also from here. So we saw the drafting, so how we can create 2D shapes and lines, polylines or wires, and also additional tools like the face binder, the shape from text, the hatch. Let's move on, and also we talk about the annotation, so to take notes, and you can see some examples here that we also did before. And also another important part we discover is that down here we have the data panel, and this is also where we can change sometimes the parameters, so we can change it from here, and sometimes we can go also in the visualization or view panel right here. For example, with the scale multiplier, we can fix some problems concerning the resize or the scale, and we find the scale tool here, but it doesn't work every time or for any object. So sometimes we need to do another way, so we need to go and go in the parameters like the scale multiplier, or we can find a parameter right here. Or for example, for the clone, we have, let me see if we have some clone. No, but we created a clone in the previous video. So let me just do it again. So if let's clone this polygon here. So clone is right here, and it's part of the modification. So if I create a clone, it is being represented with this like a sheep. So I cannot move it. And instead of like resizing, using the resize, so let's go like this and okay, which doesn't work. So the other option is, in this case, go into the clone and just use the scale inside the cone. So this is a practical example of what I was trying to explain about the main transformation or main modification, which are the move, the rotate, and the scale. Next one will be the mirror, and we're going to start with the mirror. And so we are following here kind of the flow. So we're going to go from drafting to annotation into modification, and we're going to go down for each one of these, and we're going to start with the mirror. So mirror is pretty self-explanatory, so we can take this shape and mirror it. And by the way, another interesting thing about the clone is if we change the original where we are taking the clone from, we can, for example, change the fillet of this. Let's put like 50 millimeters fillet. You can see also the clone is updated. So this is why we want to use the clone, because we want to maintain a relation to the original instead of just copying the object simply by, you can also like move and copy if you activate the copy here. So when you move it, you can copy simply like that. So the clone also give us additional features. And also there are other tools like the array to create multiple copies real quick, and like with the spacing and distribution that it's precise. So let's go for the mirror. I'm gonna take this one here, and I'm gonna just mirror it. So I'm gonna go here, mirror, and all I need to do is just define an axis. Now the axis, when I click the first point, you can see that I can change the axis anytime. I can snap to other object if I have the snaps activated up here. Now let me just do something else with the wire or polyline. So I'm gonna go and create half of the object that I have in mind. This is why we usually use the mirror, because when we have a symmetrical object, we don't need to design like both of the parts. We can just design one part. So let's say that I want to do this example here. I don't really know what this is, but just a shape that it's for a symmetrical object. So press exit or ESC or close to finish. Sorry, not close because it's going to close. I want to leave this open intentionally. I don't want to close this. Now I want to have the other side. So I'm going to go for mirror, and I can choose this as the first point. And then if I hold the shift key on the keyboard, I can go perfectly vertical or perfectly horizontal. So in this case, I want to go perfectly vertical like this. And you can see now this is the whole object. Let's assume this is the whole object. And we can close this with a line. So let's go here and close. Now this is a closed shape, but if we don't join this together, it's not going to be considered as a closed shape. It's just going to be considered as two, or actually three different shapes. So there are tools that can help us to unite this. One of these is the upgrade. So you can see it creates one single object out of those different lines, and this is ready to be used in 3D. So if I go now in the part workbench and I click on the extrude and I type any number, you can see that this is going to be now a 3D object. So again, the close relation between the 2D and the 3D. Now, this is just to explain the mirror. Let's move on, and I'm going to go back to draft. Next one will be the offset. Now for the offset, let's create again kind of a simple shape. And offset is always used in architecture to create like thickness, but also design to create thickness of objects. So if I create this line and press, as I was saying, you don't close here, just finish. So A to finish, but it's going to be open. Now, if I want to give a double line to it, it's actually a copy, but it's like smaller or bigger. So select the offset, and if you want to offset an object or more, just select it before. So hold Control to select the two segments of this line, or you can just select the entire wire by clicking here and then offset. And you can either specify an offset distance right here. So let's type like 30, or you can just click in the screen. You can see it's a copy of the shape, but is like bigger if we go outside or this direction, or is smaller into this direction. So if let's say I make this thing is smaller. Okay, now it's representing a thickness. Well, we need to close this. Let's assume this is an L-shaped beam. So I want to close this with a line. I can close this with a simple line. And again, another line right here. And if we see again in the hierarchy here, these are separated lines. And these are all lines. Now, where everything is either a line or a wire, you can select them all, holding the Control or the Shift key also here. And then we can do another operation, which is join. When you join things together again, you will create a surface. And this is ready again to be extruded, as we saw many times. And also I want to show you another thing. So when you create something like this, which is a closed shape, you also have some options. And well, this is the visualization option. Let's go back into data. And here, if we want, we can make this, well, we can open the shape like this. So it's gonna like delete one piece, and then it's not gonna be a closed shape anymore. We can fillet the radius. So any corner can be fillet. So we can make some refinements. And also in the make phase, if we change this into false, it's gonna leave it like empty, like if it was just the wire and not the surface inside. So depending on what we need to do, what we are doing, perhaps we are just creating a technical drawing and we don't need like the thing to be filled with the surface. Okay, let's move on and let's discover more. So next one in line will be Trimex.